So I'm going to read you all 11, write them down, and then each of you give us fast answers on these 11 things that everyone wants to know before we end. Question number one, we want to know, a recent study claimed vegans have more bone fractures. Is this true? That's number one. Number two, what is your position on salt? Number three, what is your position on smoothies? Number four, what is your position on the new popular vegan burgers that are made from a variety of pea and similar proteins? The burger brands Beyond Meat, Impossible, and all the other ones like it. Next, number five, do you recommend all the plant-based milks, oat, hemp, soy, coconut, almond, cashew, flax? Number seven, what about eggs or egg whites? If someone eats a healthy diet and they just want to have some eggs and egg whites. Number eight, what about gluten? Should we be trying to avoid gluten? Number nine, do you recommend statin drugs for some people? Number 10, what's so bad about having a little bit of fish? Fish seems natural. It grows in the ocean. Why can't we have fish? And number 11, what does a man do to protect against prostate problems? If each of you could take 4 minutes to answer all those questions, that would be great.
All right.
Or do you want to go?
Go ahead, Pam.
All right. So you can find a study to support anything you want to say. I'm talking about the vegans and fractures. So you have to look at the study design, and more might be 2% more, and it's an outlier study. It could be sponsored by the dairy industry. I can think of 13 criteria to show that might not be accurate. Salt, humans have salt taste receptors on their tongue for a good reason. We should have some salt. I own a hot yoga studio, and not all the people, the most common reason for passing out or having leg cramps is salt deficiency. So we do not restrict salt. Smoothies, every year I assign my students in my research and writing class to find a study that actually shows that smoothies are harmful. And we have not yet had a student, I've had about 4,000 people take this class, who's been able to show that smoothies are harmful. The vegan burgers, this goes to a bigger issue, processed food and the plant-based diet. You can't live on it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with some of it. I mean, if what's standing between me and death is an Impossible burger, I should open the champagne, enjoy my last few hours on the planet, and then I'll check out, right? So the problem is when people start saying, I used to eat a burger every night, now I'm having an Impossible burger, that doesn't work. There's nothing the matter with the plant milks. I think, again, it's the method of use. They always show the glass of milk at every meal. That's ridiculous. Drink water, right? But if you're going to put some plant milk in your smoothie or stick it on your cereal or oatmeal, there's nothing the matter with that. I'll answer the eggs, egg white, and fish at the same time. We've not taught a vegan diet at my office ever. We teach people to eat a diet that can include up to, not exceeding, 3 servings of animal food, provided it's organic, wild caught, or doesn't include dairy. That kind of mimics what some of the blue zones eat, and we've been very successful with it. But it doesn't matter. People say egg whites are better than this and fish is better than chicken. That's a ridiculous game to play. People who have celiac disease should not eat gluten. People with certain autoimmune diseases should not consume high gluten foods because of molecular mimicry. But the vast majority of people can eat gluten, and that's one of those frequent of the 6 things that most naturopathic doctors, and that's my training, claim that is wrong with people that isn't. Gluten sensitivity is one of them, although some people are. Statin drugs, it depends on the patient. You should use, in my opinion, the NNT to determine that. For a person using statin drugs for primary prevention, no heart attack, doesn't have familial hypercholesterolemia, the NNT is 400. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's better off buying a lottery ticket today. If you have familial hypercholesterolemia or something like that going on, the NNT goes down to a reasonable number, and the ratio indicates that you should perhaps take a statin. But for most people, that's not the case. The best thing to do to prevent prostate cancer is don't eat dairy products. Your prostate does not like dairy products. The risk that a man consuming dairy products regularly will develop prostate cancer is higher than the risk that a smoker will develop lung cancer. And I think, and the other thing that I would say is don't get a PSA test. And my good friend Richard Ablin is the guy who discovered PSA. And the false diagnosis of prostate cancer is a plague. His estimate, by the way, I think he knows a lot about it. He's the guy who discovered it. And he wrote a great book called The Great Prostate Hoax. You got a 78% false positive rate on that PSA test. So we've taken the prostates out of 1 million men in the United States who don't have prostate cancer. So I would add that caution. Don't get diagnosed with prostate cancer if you don't have it. I don't know if I did it in the right amount of time, but that's my story.
John, you want to pick up?
No, I was gonna do it in order. I don't care. Okay, vegan bone fractures. Well, I'm familiar with the group in England that did this, and I have to know my analysis. My analysis is the vegans were much more physically active and had fractures related to trauma. The other thing you have to realize is that people in England who are vegans have a propensity to eat a lot of isolated soy protein. Isolated soy protein causes bone loss. So that's another explanation. Otherwise, doesn't make sense to me at all. Salt, I agree with Dr. Popper, we're designed to eat salt. Not too much, just enough, but you have to have some. Smoothies, you do not improve the nutritional value of a fruit or vegetable by hitting it 1,000 times with a steel blade. But most people can tolerate smoothies. As far as fake meats, they're a distraction. And besides that, when you say fake meat, you're referring to an ideal, which is meat. So somehow people think that meat is still the standard. Stop talking about fake meats. You need to supplement with starch. If you're going to really feed the world in this upcoming time, you're not going to do it on Impossible Burgers. You're going to do it on rice, corn, and potatoes and wheat. So let's get over this fake meat stuff. Plant milks, we use a little bit in our clinic. Eggs are for Easter. Yes. They're the most concentrated of all foods. After all, you grow an entire chicken out of one egg. You'll grow beaks and blood vessels and eyes and feathers and feet out of one egg. It is the super concentrated nutrition of anything. Overnutrition is why people are sick. Gluten, it's a dangerous distraction. There are a few people who have to be on gluten-free diets, but 40% of the population is looking for salvation with gluten foods. They're not going to find it. It's a dangerous distraction that keeps them from looking at the real problem. Planet Earth is going to burn in hell due to the livestock industry before we help the people with gluten or GMOs or anything. Focus on what our problems are, ladies and gentlemen. It's not gluten. It's not GMOs. It's the animals that we're eating. Statins, yeah, I take care of heart disease patients. I use statins, but as Dr. Popper said, only in high-risk people. Fish, hey, I love the ocean. I sail, I scuba dive, I windsurf. When I first started going to the ocean, there were lots of fish. Now 90% of the fish are gone. Those of you who think fish is still okay, eat up fast, ladies and gentlemen, because they're almost off this planet and extinct. And they have no nutritional value. They have a lot of methyl mercury, though. As far as prostate health goes, you get prostate cancer from eating the rich Western diet. Maybe there's some herbs that help, like saw palmetto. It's the food, folks. It's the food. So I hope you love the fact it's the food. Hey, I give you an extra minute there, Michael Klaper.
Thank you, but I really don't need it. My two colleagues just they nailed every one of these into the left field stands. Those are the excellent answers that I would absolutely agree with. And as far as the fish goes, we are clear cutting the ocean. We are strip mining them. If you have not seen a film on Netflix called Seaspiracy, it's a kind of cousin to Cowspiracy. I urge you to see that, and it will change your viewing on eating fish. It's time to let them off the hook and let the oceans heal. Everything else from the prostate to the plant milk, so I'm in complete agreement with.
Okay, why don't each of you take 1 minute and make a closing final statement about anything you want to communicate to our audience?
Well,
I just want people to focus on what the three of us have been trying to talk to you about, and that it's the food. And that's where you need to put your attention, not only for your personal health, but your patient's health, and most importantly, the planet's health. We've got a world to save, and you can save it with vegan starch. It's the food. with a starch-based vegan diet. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, this is what's hanging in the wall of my office at True North. It's the food, and the second line, it's been the food all along. And that's the reality of it. And if you've been struggling with your weight and your blood pressure, it's the food, and it's been the food all along. A whole food, plant-based diet will leave you lean and healthy and keep you out of the clutches of people like us. Go live your lives by eating healthy food. Get as much love and learning and laughter in the precious time that we have left on this planet, each of us. Make it a better place, and eat plants. Your body will know what to do with it, and you won't need a lot of medical augmentation from that. And it's all about love. That's what we're here to do. So don't waste time doing anything else. If it's not loving, don't even think it, let alone do it.
That should end it. I'll just add one thing, and I think that people are afraid about their health because they're not in control of their health. People are afraid of what they can't control, and people can control their health more than they realize. And one of the reasons we focus on teaching people how to read research and how to understand studies is because the real taking control of your health comes when you know what the decisions are in front of you and can make an intelligent decision about them, not because you found somebody else to listen to. And so Dr. McDougall referred to some studies you should look up, okay? And all of us have written books that are filled with studies that you should look up and read on your own. Because when you really understand this stuff, like you understand what we're saying and you see the studies themselves and you understand, then you make decisions and you don't have all this regret later on. And so I'm all for people feeling in control of their health, because without that, there's just not much else going on. And I think we all want to stick around. And, another thing I'll just mention is sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to grow old. I just hope I get hit by a bus. You know what? All the old people I've ever talked to who are sick, they want to live longer. So, and I sure do. Now I'm an old people. I don't like to think of myself that way, but now that I'm an old people, I want to live to be 100. So, and we can. Humans are designed for that. So take care of yourself.